Catherine meeting Himitsu was inevitable, and honestly, it was surprising that it didn't happen earlier. Yeah, how'd that turn out, huh? Am I about to find out? Yet another school day was coming to its end, and I was about to go home with Catherine. To my place, this time. Oh. We'd been dating for several weeks at that point, and the initial strongest burst of passion was starting to wear off. Naturally, that didn't stop us from spending all of our free time together. But that day, Himitsu met us at the gates of the school.
Nika-kun, hello.
She bowed way too low, and I hurried to introduce Catherine to her. So, this is Himitsu. Himitsu, this is Catherine.
Catherine-san.
She was about to bow again, but decided against it under my stern glare. Come on, why the formalities?
Caddy-chan?
Himitsu asked, unsure. Kachi only smiled back in embarrassment.
Nika-kun, you never told me she was so tall.
Himitsu whispered to me. It never crossed my mind, to be honest. Where do you study? In middle school. Here, it's on the same grounds. I studied there too. See, she used to get sick a lot and went to school a year later than me. Interesting. Catherine frowned slightly. Yeah, she always wanted to be in the same class as me, but it never worked out. I think Himitsu can speak for herself. Katya suddenly interrupted me. Himitsu, meanwhile, was just standing nearby, picking at the ground with the tip of her shoe. She looked even smaller now, compared to Catherine. Oh, yeah, sorry. The awkwardness soured the meeting of the two most important girls in my life. How about we celebrate your acquaintance then?
Nika-kun.
Himitsu said, still in a whisper, but now with reproach. Why, that's actually a good idea. Don't you like it? Catherine asked her.
Only if there won't be any alcohol.
Alcohol? Does he usually? Not at all! I waved my hands in denial. Received and understood. Thank you for the information.
I didn't.
How much more am I going to learn about you, boyfriend? She asked in English. Himitsu wasn't that good at the language, and this time Catherine was actually trying to hide the meaning of her words from others. Okay, it happened once or twice. She's just worried about me. Worried, huh? Katya immediately shifted her gaze to Himitsu. In any case, nice to meet you.
Me too.
While the three of us were walking home, I was scolding Himitsu. Why start with that again? Why say all that? Who asked you?
I didn't even say anything.
Himitsu was about to burst into tears. I should add that she used to be even more awkward around people. You have to think before you speak. Maybe I ought to be an alcoholic or something. Anyway, I relented. Just don't do that anymore. The entire time, Catherine was watching us carefully without a word. I was speaking quietly and wasn't sure she'd heard what the conversation was about exactly. Oh, yes, she did. You're quite close. Naturally, we've known each other for so many years. She's like a stupid little sister to me. Little sister, huh? Convenient. Want me to be the older one then? You can call me Ane-san. A threesome with two sisters at once. Now that'd be something, wouldn't it? Lucky man. She finished off her snide remark with a juicy slap on my ass. Good thing Himitsu didn't notice anything at least. She noticed, she's not acknowledging it. There's no way you don't notice someone slapping someone else's ass when you're walking right next to them. Truth be told, I like Catherine's peculiar sense of humor. Sometimes it crossed all possible lines, not only by Japanese standards. When we reached home, Himitsu made that stupid bow again and bid us farewell.
I think I'll go. I don't want to be a bother.
Come on, you're not bothering us at all, right, Nick? Yeah, of course. I thought I looked like an idiot. Even though for a moment I enjoyed Kati's idea with the two sisters. Nick, no. But if you have something to do.
It has been a pleasure to meet you.
She addressed Catherine. You've got an interesting friend. Not everyone could put up with someone like you for so many years. This is true. Indeed, Catherine was right, even if she was yet to know to what extent. I suddenly returned to reality and looked around. The park was still just as quiet, autumn appropriately chilly. The clock in my stomach together reminded me that it was high time for lunch. I was walking through the city, feeling detached from reality. Like Alice, stuck in a wonderland of memories, which, by comparison, made all the danger looming over me seem much less important. As if the best had already passed and nothing good awaited me in the future. So what sense was there in worrying? Hey there, Koya. Come on in. Long time no see. Today the bartender seemed to be the embodiment of hospitability? I'm just here for lunch. But a moment. He was as eager to talk as always, but there were more visitors than usual, and he had to get back to work after bringing me my order. I was eating the ramen with gusto, and noted once again that, all in all, it was no worse than in real Japanese ramen shop. Despite all the bartender's peculiarities, you couldn't deny that he knew his trade. He just had to remove that irritating bell over the door. Its sound didn't just annoy me, it seemed to make my nerves themselves strain and tighten like strings. Meanwhile, someone I never expected to see in here entered the bar. It was Saya-chan with her classmates. She looked around, choosing a table, noticed me, whispered something to her girlfriends, and headed towards me with clear determination. Oh, uh-oh. What are you doing here?
That's what I should be asking you, Anakin-san.
She sat across from me quite unceremoniously and looked me right in the eye. What about me? Just dropped by for lunch. This place has wonderful ramen, by the way. My recommendation. Her presence was making me uncomfortable, and I didn't even really know why. Perhaps because of all the memories. Catherine was right about Himitsu at the time. Apparently, I started to feel ashamed again. And Saya was only making things worse.
But you weren't at school today.
Keeping an eye on me? I'm flattered.
Don't play dumb.
You're also out early, judging by the time.
Our class is already over for your interest.
Oh. I raised my eyebrows. Naturally, I wasn't interested at all.
Himitsu was worried about you and went home.
Why'd she worry about me? Here I am.
Anakin-san.
Just call me Nick, I told you. For some reason, coming from her in particular, these formalities were especially sickening.
Anakin-san, you know what I'm talking about.
No, I don't. And even if I did, I don't think it's any of your business.
Worrying about a friend is very much my business.
I couldn't object. In any case, you don't know all the details of our relationship.
I don't see what details can matter when the relationship hurts one of the parties.
I bit my lip and turned away. I had been trying to hide my irritation.
Now there's this foreigner girl, too.
What about her? I immediately looked back to Saya and grit my teeth, but she remained calm.
Her return was quite timely. Now your life has no time left for Himitsu.
Now that's definitely none of your business.
So you're not denying it.
I'm not going to get into a pointless argument with you.
You don't need to argue with me, but think about Himitsu.
I do, okay? I do! I almost added all the time. What do you even know? I let out a sigh and threw a greedy glance at the alcohol stand.
2 o'clock is the perfect time.
Saya smirked. Turns out she was also quite attentive. Sure, I knew in my head that there was a fair bit of truth to her words, but I just couldn't agree. If only for my own sake. Listening to you makes my ears bleed. A shout would make it at least bearable.
You're hopeless.
Maybe that's exactly why Himitsu likes me. Ever thought of that?
So you know how to keep acting like that.
Relax, I'm joking.
There are things you can't joke about.
Excuse me for not being a prude.
Not having much of a conscience.
Seriously, what do you want me to say?
Why do you act like that?
Ooh, interesting. You say, fuck you. Or you just say, well, I'm going through some stuff. I'm going through some stuff, alright? I'm going through it right now. Or you say with the A, fuck you, you know? I also don't know which one to go with. That one's definitely not obvious for me. Do we hit her with the A, fuck you, mind your own? Or do we say, listen, look, I'm just going through a rough time right now, don't worry about it. Do we try to appeal to Sai here, or do we just straight up tell her, hey, fuck you, get out my face? That's an interesting one. I'm not quite sure what would be the right answer here, I really don't. Either A, it's none of your bit, like, do we, like, try to at least be not a total douche to her because she is Himitsu's friend, and also apparently it's the girl that Kyosuke's into, if I remember correctly. Or just hit her with the straight fuck you, because why should we tell her, like, even give her a hint as to something that's going on in his life? Because chances are if he does bring it up, like, I'm going through a rough patch in my life, she's like, oh yeah, what? And it's like, well shit, we can't really tell her what. That's something we gotta keep under wraps. And she'll just think we're making up bullshit anyway. I don't really feel like there is a right answer here. Cause like Saya's never done anything to us to make us like really dislike her. Like she gets heated with Nikolai, sure, but also he totally fucking started it the last time they interacted. I don't know. Because I feel like too much of a dick if I say, nah, it's none of your business. But also it is truly none of her business. Alright, you know what? Ooh, actually, you know what? We have a way of solving this. Coin flip. Coin flip. Heads top option, tails bottom option. Coin flip. It's flipping. It's flipping. Tails. Alright. Alright, let me just show the monitor there real quick. There it is. Boom. Google coin flip says tails. So tails it shall be. I'm going through a rough patch, Saya. Alright. And so is Himitsu. We've known each other since childhood, you know. We have a kind of, how do I say it, connection between us. 10 years. That's no joke. Half our lives. More even. Maybe you want the best for her, but it's not that simple. What's so difficult about her life? Don't you think you're the one making it difficult? It's a relationship. Things happen. Relationship? She smirked. That's an interesting choice of words, Anaki-san. Although, alright. I won't bother you. Alright. Damn, okay, that turned out better than I thought it would. Listen, coin flip hasn't let me down yet. She stood up and headed to her girlfriend's. In reality, Saya hadn't said anything new, and there wasn't any reason to be upset with her. Mostly I was angry with myself. The girl had a sore spot. With great precision, I must say. Meanwhile, Himitsu's classmates weren't in a hurry to leave. Having finished their milk cocktails and ice cream, they kept sitting there, chatting about casual stuff. I was throwing rare annoyed glances at them, but Saya was making a point to ignore me. To be honest, I simply found it hard to get up and walk past them to the exit. That would seemingly mean acknowledging my defeat and fleeing the battlefield. It was silly, but I kept sitting there to the bitter end, having chewed through even the chopsticks. Finally, their merry band got up from the table and prepared to leave. Saya shot me a farewell look, screwing her face into a snide grimace. She had to be thinking she won. Jeez, Kolya, who was that? The bartender appeared next to me at once. If witch burning were still in fashion these days, I'd definitely report her to the Inquisition. So that was just a friend of Himitsu's. Ah, I see, he said thoughtfully and sat down beside me. No, actually, I don't. Maybe that's for the better. I paid my bill and left the bar. I was having a hard time getting my emotions in order after the reprimanding Saya had given me. Sometimes you understand you're wrong, can even accept your mistakes somewhere deep inside, but if someone points them out, you can't help but argue. Yet another crazy day was coming to an end. I got caught in the rain while on my way back from home, and barged into the kitchen defeated, and immediately faced Himitsu's disapproving stare.
There's probably no point asking where you've been, Nico-kid.
Probably not. I agreed, trying not to sound rude, and walked past her. Gotta take a shower or I'll get sick. A hot dinner greeted me when I left the bathroom. After everything, I could only marvel at Himitsu's patience. Not everyone could put up with someone like you for that many years. Couldn't have said it better myself. Oh, look at that face! I love her face so much. Sorry for disappearing today. I had to think.
Very well.
What's well about it?
I'm glad that you had time to think.
Yeah, well, okay. By the way, I met Saya-chan at the bar today.
Really?
He was asked without much interest. I gotta say that she's weird. Yeah, weird. She can do without prying into other people's business.
What does she pry into?
Well, you must know her better than me. I don't know what she says about me, but...
Nico-ken, I'm capable of making my own decisions,
she said in a bored voice. Of course, I didn't mean anything like that. It's just... whatever. I'm not trying to say I have to like all your friends.
That's nice.
We kept silent for a while.
So did all those thoughts bring you to any conclusions? Were they about Caddy-chan?
No, of course not. I felt like Himitsu would pretty much explode at any mention of Catherine. I also wanted to check if I'm being watched.
So, are you?
Himitsu perked up. I don't know. Even if someone is watching, they're very good at it. Indeed, the Soviet intelligence agents, as well as the other players, hadn't shown themselves in any way in the past 2 days. That was much of a time frame to draw any broad conclusions, but it gave me at least some respite. Just to sink ever deeper into my personal drama. For whatever reason, I couldn't bring myself to call our love triangle a melodrama. Maybe tragedy was a better word for it. So what do you think? I think that so far we're managing not to attract too much attention. There's a good chance it'll stay like that.
I really hope so.
So do I. I'm really sick of this uncertainty. Himitsu looked at me attentively but said nothing. By the way, the dinner was very good. Thank you.
Did you talk about me with Saya-chan?
Kind of, but you know her better than I. You know everything she could tell me.
I guess. Nico-kun, she really isn't a bad person. Just a bit harsh sometimes. But it's not out of malice.
Good intentions pave the road to hell, you know. Although she should be more of the gatekeeper, meeting new arrivals. Himitsu laughed, but quickly caught herself and frowned.
Hey!
I'm serious. On the other hand, she could also get an offer for Karen's job. It would be much better than the original anyway. She'd entertain her passengers with her grumbling along the way. Can you imagine Saya-chan in a robe? I pulled a towel over my head and made a face.
Nico-kun, stop it.
She kept laughing. I jumped up from the bed, ran to her, and threw the towel over her face. You're doomed to endless suffering in hell for having overdone the tofu.
Nico-kun.
Himitsu kept desperately resisting and pushed me away. I lost my balance and fell to the floor, taking her with me. You dare, mortal. You have the courage to oppose the will of Hades. For a while we struggled, and soon I ended up atop Himitsu, holding her hands firmly in mine. Yes! Which would already be quite a precarious position to be in, but it was also exacerbated by the fact that Himitsu's face flushed and her hair scattered on the floor. We felt quite quiet simultaneously, and she no longer laughed. In the descendant silence, only the sound of our heartbeats could be heard. The tension even halted the air in my lungs.
Nico-kun, I
didn't play the fool and specify what exactly she wanted. I simply kept silent. Himitsu lay there unmoving still. Whatever happened now, she wouldn't take the initiative. But as bad luck would have it, I remembered Catherine again, and that day in the park 2 years ago. Why? You are locked in this heated moment with Himitsu. It's getting hot and heavy, and it's getting all intense. The tension's rising, and you're just like, but remember that day with Catherine? Like, no, I'm not thinking about that day with Catherine. God damn it. Man's having a moment, a straight up moment, and his brain just goes, hey, homie, I know you're getting into this moment, but remember, Catherine. Like, bro needs to lobotomize himself and get rid of Catherine. I can't do this to Himitsu. First I had to sort out myself, my feelings towards each of them. Okay, I guess. So he's talking about when Catherine tried to jump on him and get all freaky with him. And he was like, no, we ain't doing that, He's like, yeah, so I see what he's getting at by thinking of Catherine. He's not only thinking of Catherine, more so he's thinking of a moment that Catherine happened to be involved in. He's learning about the lesson he got from that moment. That's what he's remembering. He's like, okay, not sure. I look over her hands and fell to the floor next to her. Sorry.
What are you apologizing for?
She immediately happily responded.
I'd like to remind you that we've got school tomorrow.
Himitsu painfully pinched my side. God, I love that smirk. Ouch. Still, I was grateful for her tactfulness. That was yet another thing to add to the others I was grateful to her for. It's war, then. I grabbed a pillow. Exhausted, we were lying on the bed, resting. It was 9 o'clock.
It's so late already,
Himitsu suddenly realized. I wouldn't say it's particularly late.
I still need to do homework for tomorrow. They gave us a lot, and someone made me so nervous today that I had other things on my mind.
I wonder who that might have been.
Alright, I'm leaving.
She stuck her tongue out at me and laughed, flashing a goodbye smile. When I was left alone, I took a deep breath and immediately felt overwhelmed. Without a prelude or a preface, I could have... What am I doing? A sense of guilt was burning me from the inside. My broken heart joined the chorus, making my existence virtually unbearable. I seemed to be suffocating and burning at the same time, as if ending up in the real hell. It was absolutely impossible to remain in silence and solitude anymore. Hastily trudging through puddles, I reached the nightclub. Oh. My consciousness kicked in. I was sitting behind a table densely covered by beer mugs, shots, and rocks glasses, drowning in clouds of cigarette smoke. My thoughts were tumbling over each other, but my main goal had been achieved. I had managed to calm down. Even if it was achieved this way, by drinking myself to unconsciousness. Some band was playing on stage, but I wasn't in any condition to listen properly. The rhythmic drum of the speakers was more than enough. Oh, hello, sir. Suddenly an unfamiliar guy sat at my table and started to speak quickly. Although it was more like he was opening and closing his mouth like a fish in water. Huh? What? I can't hear. I moved closer. I'm saying it's nice to see a European here, he said in English. I didn't even notice right away that he wasn't Japanese. Ah, yeah. Where are you from? I live nearby. Ah, I mean from what country? USSR, I replied after a pause. My perception of reality was significantly clouded by alcohol. I still didn't count on Kobayashi Corporation and the KGB suddenly leaving me alone. And he said where he was from, but I couldn't hear and decided not to ask again. Ed. The guy stretched his hand out to me. Ed, what? My name's Ed. What's yours? Nick. I shook his hand. You come here often? Sometimes. I guess he was slightly over 20, but all in all, Ed possessed an absolutely forgettable appearance. Were I to be interrogated the next day, I wouldn't be able to name any characteristics. No long hair, no big nose, no scars or birthmarks. You could say it was a very fitting appearance for a spy. Or an intelligence officer, depending on your perspective. I'm here on tour with my favorite band. He shouted the name so loudly that it even overpowered the buzzing of the guitars, but I still couldn't make it out. They're headlining today. Yeah. He seemed to be just a regular music fan rather than a spy. I downed the shot of whiskey courteously offered by Ed, then another one. The guy quickly began to seem like a wonderful person. Listen, Ed. I was tripping over my tongue, but a drunk always understands another drunk. They're on the same page, so to say. Do you have someone? I mean, a girl? Yeah, my wife is waiting for me at home. Wife? So serious. I see. And you? And me. I sighed down half a glass of beer in one go. Hell knows what's going on in my life. I may even have two. Ha! Well, I mean, not two wives. Two girls. I don't know who to choose. What does your heart tell you? Heart? Is it ever that easy? That only works in books. Stupid books. Okay, let's try a different approach. Which of them seems to be the lesser evil? Himitsu. What do you mean? I asked, startled. That turned out to be less drunk than me after all. Well, which choice would make you lose less? Which choice would harm others less? Well, if you put it this way. Catherine can live without me for sure. She's been doing alright the last year and a half. Himitsu. Well, I wouldn't say she'd off herself, but who knows though. Is it that serious? He asked compassionately. No, it's just, in the context of this discussion, you know. What you said, it seems like this Himitsu is just dependent on you. Dependent? No way. We're not like. It's a term in psychology. You, on the other hand, are dependent on Catherine. I'm not dependent on anyone. I felt resentment growing inside of me. I'm just trying to help, bro. Cool down. Better get another round. What does your psychology suggest to do in my case? I asked after giving his words a bit of thought. Getting rid of the dependency. By getting rid of the dependency, you mean the way they usually do in Hollywood films? Think I should shoot Catherine? I laughed loudly. But then Himitsu would have to shoot me. In reality, there was nothing funny about that, especially in my situation. Especially considering that I could actually catch a bullet at any moment. There are easier ways. For example, visiting a psychologist. A psychologist? Are you serious? I'm going to tell him that Catherine's mother was involved in my parents' death and I'm hunted by the most powerful corporation in Japan, but I can't think about anything but love, simultaneously feeling guilty about my childhood friend who has also built a dependency on me. No, I couldn't say that. That might be a good idea, though. They'd send me to the madhouse right off. I'd definitely be safe there. You're taking it too close to heart, making a tree out of a molehill. What? No. Ed, I think you're shit-faced. His mistake entertained me a lot and distracted me from my dark thoughts. Well, I'm still doing better than you. I guess so. You are older. Although, I am trying to become a worthy alcohol marathoner. Not bad, but be careful of that, otherwise you might never reach the finish line. We all reach the finish line one way or another. Yes, the distance is different for everyone. Suddenly the crowd grew silent. After some time, an intro from a famous song came out from the speakers. Oh, here they are. Let's go to the stage. I didn't know this band, which made me even more surprised to see them at such a mediocre club. The furious energy of the music and the roaring crowd soon washed over me and made me forget about my problems. When the performance was over, I even sobered up a bit, but Ed approached me immediately with a couple of beer cans in his hands. Here, try this. It's a brand one. We brought some with us. I took a few gulps, and that was just enough. The concert hall started to blur before my eyes. You know what? You're a cool guy. Really cool. Pity there are no such guys here. You know, if you want, we can continue at my place. An after party, so to say. I'd like to, but I still need to help the band load their equipment. Then I'll help as well. I tried to stand up, but instead fell to the floor and immediately burst out laughing. Oops, I seemed to have trouble navigating. The next words I'd said to me seemed to sound from somewhere far away, like the yell of a captain of a ship passing by in the fog. Sit here for a bit. We'll drive you home. I will. Why not? I barely managed to climb on the chair and started to look for booze. And of course, I found it soon.